Welcome to HKB, the podcast where we go to Hong Kong and beyond. I'm Shaz.
I'm Leon.
And in this episode, episode 23, we're continuing our look at Ann Hui's Vietnamese drama trilogy. Last episode, we looked at Boat People from 1982. And in this episode, we will look at the story of Woo Viet. I'm not sure how you pronounce that.
Yeah, I think that's it. And that's from
1981. Yeah. And what other one are we looking at today?
On the Beyond side of things, we're going to take up the thread from last episode where we looked at a Kiyoshi Kurosawa film, Cure, which we enjoyed a lot. But this time, we're going to be looking at Tokyo Sonata. But before we go into that, we're going to do our Movies You Might Have Missed segment, where Shaz and I both take a little look at our Letterboxd accounts and pick out two movies that we think are noteworthy and just give you a little insight into what we thought of those films. So Shaz, would you like to go first? What movie might people have missed that you want to mention?
I'd like to mention Lifeline from 1997. We watched this recently. So this is a Hong Kong film that stars mainly Sean Lau, doesn't it? About firemen or fire people.
It is, and it's a Johnny To film.
Mm-hmm.
And the version we've got was the Vinegar Syndrome 4K, which was very nice.
Yes, very nice indeed. And we saw this years ago and I really liked it back then. And on a rewatch, it definitely improves.
It's a pretty incredible film.
It is, yeah. Fantastic effects. And when we saw the documentary that came with it, how they were explaining that they were doing it with real fire because they didn't have the effects back then.
It's Hong Kong movie making at its most insane. What they were doing was extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
But it adds so much to the movie.
It's so enjoyable.
I definitely agree with you. That is a really good pick. And if people haven't seen Lifeline, then definitely seek it out.
Definitely.
Sean Lau, fantastic in that. That might have been the film that put him on your radar, if I remember correctly.
Possibly, yeah. I know at the time we were watching loads of his other things, like Le Brassiere and all those as well, weren't we?
We were.
So it could have been any of those, really.
Okay. Are you ready for my first movie you might have missed?
Fire away.
So we have 3 months of movie for £1. And we
great deal.
Primarily got this because we wanted to see The Substance.
Oh, yes, because we've heard so many people talk about it.
And I can see why they're talking about it. I thought The Substance was fantastic. Demi Moore is really on fire on that. And the younger actress, Margaret Qualley, she was quite good too. I mean, they were both good, both playing the same part, essentially.
Yes.
I don't know if people are familiar with the story or want to know anything about it. Basically, it's about there's this substance that produces a better, younger version of yourself. And quite literally, as it says. So there's two of you, but one of you can be conscious at a time while the other one lives.
Has to sleep for a week, don't they?
Yeah, get intravenously fed. It's quite a look at today's society and expectations of how you should look, etc. What I found quite unusual about this was looking at both the actresses. I was quite liking the way Demi Moore looked with, even with her slightly aged looks and maybe slightly saggy bit at bottom. But I still found her hotter and her wanting to be hotter than she was and younger. It was quite, it just shows how it gets inside people's psyche. I thought it was very Cronenberg-esque, and I really, really loved the first 2/3 of the film. The last third where it all kicks off, and you start going to the extreme.
Very extreme.
I can see why that made people talk, but I liked the first 2/3 better. I would have liked a more subtle ending to it. But that being said, it's not criticism. It's a choice they made for today's audience, and it's possibly the right choice. And I did really enjoyed it. I loved Demi Moore in it, and Dennis Quaid as well. He was fabulous. He's a right sleazebag in it,
wasn't he? Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen The Substance, highly recommended. And as I say, if you look up movie, you can get 3 months for £1 at the minute. So great selection of films on that streaming service. Next up for you, Shaz?
So next up for me is a film called Perfect Days. So that's a Japanese film from 2023. And it's basically about an everyday guy that goes and cleans the toilets in Tokyo. And it was riveting, wasn't it? It was fascinating. And it was just basically as if someone was following us around, watching us get up, get ready for work, go to work, do your job, go home, eat your tea.
Yeah. I don't know how we would sell this one to anybody. I'm not sure if this sounds like riveting and if everybody thinks you two lost your mind.
I think people probably do.
They probably do, which is probably why we have so few listeners. It's mainly you and I listening to you and I back. But that being said, we enjoy it. And if any of you guys are still left out there and enjoying, then welcome along on the crazy ride. We're very grateful to have you with us. But take it from us, this isn't a mistake. Tokyo Sonata is nothing short of a masterpiece.
Perfect Days.
Perfect Days.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm jumping ahead, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. You're getting very excited about talking about Tokyo Sonata.
Well, we haven't seen it yet, but that will be conquered very shortly. But yeah,
this is Perfect Days.
Perfect Days was absolutely sublime. It was last year's entry into the Best International Feature at the Academy Awards. And also, our lead actor now.
Oh, yes, I've forgotten his name. Let me see if I can find him.
It was the same lead actor from Cure. And I recognised him, didn't I? Koji Yakusho.
Yes.
And he's phenomenal in this.
Indeed.
We've seen him in things throughout, our time together in our relationship, from The Last Dance, Cure, to that.
Says he's in Tokyo Sonata. Did you know that already?
I think he's the lead in that. That's
good.
kind of why I was excited about it, Shaz.
Pulse. He was in Pulse, of course.
Yeah, which we may also
do
on this series.
Yeah.
But what an incredible actor. I'm really glad you picked that one out, Shaz, for movies you might have missed. Because I don't know how to make this appeal to people, but
I know
you will feel uplifted. There's all the retroness in it? Like he's got like audio cassettes, and he takes black and white photographs on his lunch break of the trees and the sky.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not selling this, but it is one incredible piece of filmmaking, and it's great soundtrack.
Not much dialogue in it, but in a way that's the interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And the few relationships that we focus on within this film are wonderful.
Yeah.
Directed by, was it Wim Wenders or Kim Wenders?
Wim Wenders.
Wim Wenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. Go seek it out. Then you'll see that Shaz and I are not far wrong.
We're not mad.
We're not mad.
It's a great film. Okay,
I'm then going to have a look at Gun Crazy for my second choice on movies you might have missed.
Oh, yes.
Which was a 1992 film directed by Tamara Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Currently screening in the UK on Prime.
Ooh, right.
It was Prime on it.
Yes.
This film stars Drew Barrymore and James LaGrosse, who Shaz and I were familiar with from Phantasm 2. He replaced D. Michael, the Baldwin brother, whichever Baldwin it was. I'm not sure if it is one of the Baldwin brothers, but he's called Baldwin anyway. But James LaGrosse with Drew Barrymore, and this is a remake of a 50s film. I was just so impressed with it. Drew Barrymore was so young in this, and it's a little bit Bonnie and Clyde-ish, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We've got some real classy actors in there as well, with Billy Drago and Michael Ironside.
Oh, yes.
Who are strong support in this film.
Yeah.
And it is about this misguided young couple. The girl's got a name for herself, Drew Barrymore, for being somebody easy to sleep with at school. So all the lads think, oh yeah, I can shag her, that's easy, and kind of use her. And she's got very low self-esteem. She lives with her mum's boyfriend in a trailer park, so she looked upon this trailer park trash.
Yeah.
And he's somebody that she writes to for a school project. They said get a pen pal, so she writes to a convict who's just about to get out, and she helps him get out by getting him to work for this pastor, Billy Drago, and he works for him in his garage, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
And yeah, things happen and they end up killing some of the lads from our school that are
Yeah.
complete shitheads, sleazeballs, and they end up on the run. And it's very touching. You know, the fact that he can't seem to have sex with her because he's got some inhibitions or lack of confidence, and she's oversexed, obviously. And the way they come together and the way they feel for each other and build up this relationship at first without any physicality. And I just really, really enjoyed it. This film blew me away.
Yeah.
I think it's a little known gem. And yeah, I would say go seek this one out.
Yeah,
It's on Prime, it's free.
Yeah.
Check it out. Okay, Shaz, so that's it for movies you might have missed segment.
Yes. So now let's move on to talking about our first film today, The Story of Woo Viet.
So, another Ann Hui film. And I have to
Yes.
say, last time you admired the film, but it didn't really hit you.
Boat People.
Yeah, Boat People. It didn't really hit you that hard as a Hong Kong movie that you really sort of enjoyed, Shaz.
I could appreciate it, but I wouldn't have sought it out. I wouldn't be like, oh, I've really got to watch this film.
Okay, so this one, can I ask, because I've asked you not to tell me until this point,
Yeah.
but how many stars did you give it on your letterbox? And then tell me why you scored it, what you scored.
Well, I gave it 3.5 stars,
Okay.
which is a whole star more than I gave Boat People.
Okay. I thought you gave Boat People 4 stars. Oh no, you said on the last episode you would give it 4 stars for just the film making, not personally 4 stars for you.
Yeah, well, this is actually on my letterbox. So when I
Okay.
went back and went through everything, that's what I felt when I was scoring it then.
Okay.
Which might differ what I said last time.
Okay, that's fine. You were just doing it on an artistic merit.
Yeah.
Right.
But this one, I've scored 3.5 because I was much more engaged with the story in this.
Good.
And it definitely felt a lot less political because I didn't really like that aspect. I understand it was, an important subject that people needed to know about, but it just wasn't for me. So this felt more of a proper film story that would appeal to me. Hence, I've given it more.
That's fantastic. I was only half a star more.
Okay, so you've done 4 stars.
4 stars, yeah. I really enjoyed this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's as polished as Boat People.
Maybe not.
But that being said, I think it's more accessible.
Yes.
I think it gives you more of a feeling of a Hong Kong movie, especially like these new wave ones.
Yeah.
It feels, I don't know, it just feels a bit more easy to enjoy.
I think so. I mean, do you think the fact this one was made first meant that Boat People was more polished because they tried this one and maybe knew where to tidy things up?
I think so, but sometimes you lose something, don't you? If you polish away all the rough edges.
Yeah.
Sometimes it becomes a bit glossy and loses a bit of that grit, a bit of that edge to it.
Yeah.
And I like that we got a very young Chow Yun-fat and Sherry Chung in this.
Yeah, I didn't recognise her. She's so young.
She was, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And we got a return from the last episode, as in Cora Mao is also in this.
Okay, yeah.
And then we got possibly one of your very, very favourite Shaw stars in this show.
Yes, Lo Lei. It's nice to see him in this. And we had a quick chat after we finished watching it and we said how nice it must have been that Chow Yun-fat got to work with him.
I think so.
Yeah, how cool.
Crossover of 2 separate generations of Hong Kong filmmaking.
Yeah.
And Lo Lei's been there before to support new upcoming young Hong Kong movie stars, as we can attest to. We covered the True final episode where he played Andy Lau's dad.
Yeah.
That was quite good. Mm-hmm. And what do you think of Lo Lei in this?
I really liked his character.
I did.
When he came into it, I thought, oh no, he's going to be a thug that's going to beat up Chow Yun-fat's character. But they ended up forming like a really close bond, didn't they?
They did. We haven't done a synopsis yet. Shall we talk the guys through, or do you have a synopsis there ready for us to use?
Let's have a look here. There's one on Letterbox. Do you want me to read this one out? That one. So I think I did see another one, but we'll go with this one. So Woo Viet is a Vietnamese refugee who wants to leave his country behind and start over in the United States. First, he must make his way to Hong Kong, but as he passes through Thailand, he meets a beautiful woman who travels with him. Woo and his new love end up in a refugee camp in Thailand, where they discover many of their countrymen are disappearing under mysterious circumstances. As Woo tries to learn the truth about what's happening, he discovers his life is in danger and he must flee to the Philippines for safety.
Right, okay, so that's lost me a little bit. I thought they went to Hong Kong from Vietnam.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe some of that wasn't clear.
I mean, we had the CN Entertainment Blu-ray, and some of the subtitles were a bit hard to follow the story, I felt. But it did. You could see Hong Kong, couldn't you? You could see Hong Kong from the boat.
They were on the boat and they were saying, "Oh, we're in Hong Kong," so they must have been.
They were in Hong Kong, so I think that's a bit wrong.
The Thailand bit is wrong. So they went to Hong Kong, and then, as far as we knew, they were going to US. But it sounds like they had to stop over in the Philippines en route.
It was a little unclear in the film.
Yeah, but we pieced that together, didn't we?
We pieced it together because you soon work out that they're in the Philippines and it's some sort of stopover. Just to go back though, before we go into that, there's some setup on the boat at the beginning where Chow Yun-fat's with a young boy, and at first we weren't sure whether he was the father or not.
Yeah.
And I think we quickly worked out, and it does become underlined, that he's not his father. His father's actually been killed by pirates.
Yeah.
And Chow Yun-fat has sort of taken him under his wing.
Yeah.
He gets forced to flee though, because there's people that are coming wherever they are, wherever all the refugees are, and killing them off for whatever reason. We don't know.
No. Just said they were special agents, didn't he, coming to get rid of people. And
that is proven, and Chow Yun-fat manages to take one of them out, which is why he has to start his journey fleeing away from the scene of the crime, as it were. So I would say there's quite a bit of confusion in this. But you just ride it, don't you? You ride the wave. Yeah. You're on this journey. It's set off for whatever the reasons are, and then it's a drama from there. It's really good. Yeah. Yeah. His pen friend, who has helped him out and who meets him when he first gets off the boat, is Cora Mao. I can't remember what her character was called. Do you have the name at hand, Shaz?
Let me have a look here.
Was it Lee Lap Kwan? That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lee Lap Kwan.
Yeah.
So she's the pen friend of Woo Viet, who is Chow Yun-fat. And I feel like she has an attachment to him because she's obviously been to see him before at the camp, she said. So that makes you think about people a little bit in the camps that they have. Yeah. And unfortunately, very early on, he meets Sherry Chung, who's a Vietnamese refugee. And she also wants to go to the States. So that is kind of sad in a way, because I feel like she was expecting more. Do you not?
What, Cora Mao's character? Yeah, it was. She seemed a bit heartbroken when she saw that he'd met Cherry Chung's character, who is Shum Ching.
Yeah, Shum Ching.
And you feel, like she felt betrayed. I'm not sure.
Yeah, she didn't take much out of it, did she? And she was still offering him up money because she supplied money for him to go. Yeah. And then gave him
his,
some money,
phony passport,
and some gifts to make him look like he was Japanese.
Yeah.
So it was all a little bit strange, and she was even polite to Sherry Chung. And I was thinking, I bet she wants to hit her, you know, because she's just come along last minute, and all of a sudden she's having a relationship with the stud that is Chow Yun-fat. And yeah, that was the first bit of sadness in this film. That Hong Kong dramatic sadness that you get
Yeah.
is that that's not going to be for Cora Mao, and you can see that quite clearly.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was never a factor for Woo Viet, why his character didn't see that with her.
No, that was
all.
weird. There was the scene, I don't know, was it like a hotel room or
Yeah.
some sort of apartment? It was a bit strange, wasn't it?
It was.
You could feel the awkwardness
It
in
was
the air.
very awkward, yeah.
They acted it so well.
I
just
did like
wanted
it.
one of them to say something. Like, where did you meet this other woman? You know.
But it didn't. It was restrained.
It was all
subtle.
held back. And she was letting him go. And even gave him more money for his journey.
Good catch, Cora Mao. But anyway, Chow Yun-fat lets that go in favour of the glamour of Sherry Chung. And of course, if the listeners have watched me and my Leon's Listeners Lust, they know that she topped it. So they know I'm probably going to side with Chow Yun-fat on that one. But yeah, sorry to be so base, but yeah, it clickbait, Chaz. I tried it as clickbait, and it kind of worked. A bit more views than normal, and also made me look very shamefaced. But never mind. Anyway, I like that part of the story, and then it gets to the Philippines, as we do find out, even though we weren't quite sure at the time, and whilst he's at the airport, some people take Sherry Chung away from him for something. It seems like a check or something, but she disappears, and Chow Yun-fat's in hot pursuit. In the process, he ends up hurting a cop, doesn't he, and taking his gun. And he takes this guy who was responsible by gunpoint and wants to see his boss. And I think it quickly becomes apparent that Chow Yun-fat is out of his depth.
Yeah.
And he ends up making a deal, doesn't he, to earn enough from this guy so that they can buy their freedom, if you like, and get to the US.
Yeah.
And this guy's really manipulating him all the time, isn't he? And that's where Lole also works for him and takes Chow Yun-fat under his wing. I felt like he saw something of himself in him. Would you agree with that sentiment?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I would agree that he did see very similarities. Because don't they say that he came over from Hong Kong like 10 years before?
Yeah.
And he'd already made his money.
But he hadn't moved on.
But he hadn't moved on. He hadn't left.
Why do you think that is? I wasn't sure.
I'm guessing that he had nowhere to go. He had no one to share anything with. And maybe he found the security of working for that guy. Was he called Mr. Chung?
I think so, yeah.
That it was enough for him. He said he wasn't interested in women anymore, was he?
Yeah.
He was just interested in his drink, in his rice wine. So maybe that was enough for him. So he thought, I'll just stay here.
Yeah, maybe better the devil you know, because he just thought he'd end up in another Chinatown with similar or worse circumstances.
Exactly the same. Yeah. And then he'd need another phony passport.
He kind of given up on life a little bit.
Yeah.
But then seeing Chow Yun-fat gave him something, didn't it? Something to believe in.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that was a really nice sort of. Well, I was about to say like a subplot, a sub storyline, but I feel like it became
between them two. Yeah.
It sort of became the most important part of it in a way for quite a portion of the film. Before then, it went back to Sherry Chung's character because you didn't see her for quite a long time, did you, in the film?
Yeah,
because she was being held somewhere. Yeah, yeah. So that was nice. I really did enjoy that part of the story.
There are some villains in there, some other villains. There's the guy with the knives, isn't there?
Oh, him. What was he called? Miguel?
Yeah. He would
I didn't like
knives
him.
and he throwing them all the time, wasn't he?
Yeah. Bully.
So that felt like your regular sort of Hong Kong villain tropes. They had the Ender was the bold guy as well, that Chow Yun-fat was getting into a fight with.
Oh, yeah.
So I like that you have some more conventional Hong Kong film within this new wave film.
Yeah, Yeah.
And so it feels like almost a mix of the two to me, you know. And I do like that you've got the big characters, but in a slightly art house film. It's a rare mix. And I wouldn't say it works 100%. Definitely not. You know,
Right.
there's some loose, untidy edges, but what they have in there is just really good. I like the story. And who was the story written by? Shaz? Tell the listeners.
Wow. Alfred Chung?
Alfred Chung. What would you know? Alfred Chung from Her Fatal Ways. 1, 2, and 3 in His Fatal Ways.
And just think, like, how young he must have been when he wrote this, because Her Fatal Ways was after this, wasn't it?
It was in the
That,
90s.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that old then.
I think he was at school.
Yeah. Well, you know what
School
I mean,
project. Write a movie for Ann Hui.
To come up with such a good story when he must have not been too old. And it says here that Teddy Robin was one of the producers.
Right, okay. Well, he did produce a lot of films, didn't
did he?
So,
right, okay.
So, yeah, that's good. I mean, there are good people involved with this.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Is there anybody else we've heard of?
I didn't recognise too many of the other actors. One of the main ones I did, he looked like the one of the admirals from Project A, but I'm not 100% sure if he was.
Right.
But maybe I'll look into that and then I can post somewhere whether I was right or not, or put it on the screen now if I was right. But yeah, everybody in it, they were good character actors, I'd say.
Yeah.
The subtitles were a little bit off on the CN Entertainment. There's some funny, like
I
a
missed
small kitchen
yeah.
instead of a small kitchen. So that was quite funny. But do you think that this wouldn't have been right for a Criterion release like Boat People? Do you think it's a bit too Hong Kong and not as mainstream?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it wouldn't be seen as arty enough.
Yeah. I could see somebody more like Eureka.
Yeah.
Putting this out, or somebody like that if it was to get a UK release. I think Eureka would fit really well, actually. Maybe they could even put it on the Masters of Cinema series, because Ann Hui is clearly a master of cinema.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, do we want to spoil anything where it comes to the end?
I think maybe.
Okay.
We'll put up a spoiler alert.
Right. So Shaz, where this goes at the end, did you expect it to go to the dark places it did?
I think quite early on in the film, you said something like, I think this is going to get quite dark. And and I think I hadn't really thought about it till you said that, and then I thought, oh gosh, yes. And then, so yes, I think I did expect it to go dark, but maybe I didn't expect it to go quite as dark as it did.
I think there was some hidden darkness in there too.
Okay. How do you mean?
You know, she was like taken to basically be a prostitute.
Right.
But they made it look like he was saving her from that by doing the killings. Mm-hmm. Well, we had one scene where the guy that's orchestrating it all, who Chow Yun-fat's working for,
Mr. Chung?
Yeah, he was telling Sherry Chung that she was responsible for making him kill.
Yes, trying to like guilt trip her
And
into something.
Yeah, what would you do for Woo Viet?
And she said, anything. I'll do anything.
At which point he came round to her chair, got down on his knees, lifted her foot up onto the top of the chair.
Yeah. And then I don't think we saw anything else.
We
and
didn't
it moved
see
to another
anything
scene.
else,
so
no.
we were left to imagine what happened next.
Yeah, and I think I know what happened next. I think he did take advantage of her, but I just think they weren't going to show it.
No.
And they kept it a secret from us, like she kept it a secret from Chow Yun-fat.
So Mr. Chung wants a wealthy businessman kidnapped, doesn't he?
He does.
And he's like, oh, his family's got loads of money, so we'll kidnap him. So Chow Yun-fat and Lolei go to kidnap this guy. And it goes a bit wrong.
It does. This is like the setup for his final payment, if you like.
Yeah. And so they grab this guy off the street and grab him into the back of a like little taxi
Like
cab
a tuk-tuk
thing.
type of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But this guy, he starts shouting at this police person on the pavement, "Help!" And then all hell breaks loose, really, doesn't it?
It does.
As the police person goes onto the back of the wagon, bit of a scrap. Shots are fired.
Policeman's dead.
Policeman's dead. Lolei's been shot. And, I can't remember what happened to the person they kidnapped. They must have got him back to HQ. Kidnap HQ.
Yeah, they did. And they said that they wouldn't pay the ransom, didn't they?
So I'm not sure it showed what they did with this guy, if they let him go.
It didn't return to that.
No. So I wonder what they did. Do you think they would have just killed him? Or do you think they would have let him go? I know we don't know the answer, but...
I think they probably killed him.
Yeah.
Again, it's left a little bit loose. I say some untidy edges, but the big problem is they've ended up killing a policeman, and he needs to offer up something, so he wants to stage, doesn't he, that he's handed him over to the police and then made it look like they escaped by saying he's got everything in place. But of course, he's a conniving
Mr. Chung.
Yeah,
conniving git.
Yeah. So he's telling them one thing, but he's offering up something completely different. And Chow Yun-fat comes onto this straight away when he picks up the hidden gun in the cafe, which has empty bullets. You can tell he holds the gun and he feels it, the weight of it, doesn't he? And he takes out a bullet and sees that it's not perhaps got in the gunpowder or whatever is in there. There's nothing in there.
Yeah, like the shells just open, don't they? And there's like nothing.
Yeah, but they try and make the way out of it. We don't need to completely ruin the way it finishes off, so we'll leave that little bit. Did you want to mention it?
Well, I don't mind when we have done a spoiler alert.
We have. Okay, Shaz, let them know. You have been warned.
Well, again, we don't necessarily know for sure what happens to Lolei, other than he appears to get shot multiple times. And he's clinging onto the back of the car that Chow Yun-fat and Sherry Chung are escaping in, and then he just lets go.
That was my saddest moment of the film.
He drops into the road, and we don't see him again. I know, it's very sad. It's very sad. So what was the name of that guy? It was Miguel?
Yeah, Miguel.
And so he's there with his knife. This is in the streets. And he tries to capture the two runaways in the car, and we didn't see it until after it had happened, but unfortunately Cherry Chung doesn't make it.
No, she gets one of the throwing knives in the back of the neck. Chow Yun-fat thinks he's escaped, turns around, finds her dead. It's a bit amazing that he can throw a knife straight through a glass window into somebody's neck. I think that's probably impossible. I don't think you're going to throw a knife through a window.
I thought she ducked down. I thought...
yeah, it looked like it, didn't it?
Chow Yun-fat sort of lobbed her into the back seat, so I thought she would have stayed down. So it's a shame she obviously sat up and got the knife in the neck.
That was very tragic.
It was, and you felt like they went through all of that, and she didn't make it, and Lolei didn't make it. But Chow Yun-fat did. Although what he was going to do...
We have no idea. All we know is that his last letter got to call him out because it's being read out at the end of the film. And we know that the intention was for them to go to America together. Sherry Chung, Chow Yun-fat, and they were going to pick up the boy from the refugee camp and live a happy life. But that was not to be.
Not to be.
It was Hong Kong tragedy.
The only silver lining was that this awful Miguel bloke with his knife, he came to a bit of an ending as well, a sticky ending, didn't he?
He did. Chow Yun-fat reversed over him, drove over him, reversed a little bit more and drove off over him.
And you just didn't feel bad for him because you're like, he's horrible.
You were cheering and clapping.
Yeah. Like, well, good.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
Fancy doing that to Sherry Chung. What's his problem?
I know.
So, I think that covers the film now. And how would you wrap it all up, Shaz? How would you sell this to people? Would you sell it to people? What's your recommendation for everyone?
Oh, that's tricky. How would I wrap it up? I'd say it's a great Chow Yun-fat film. Probably, I don't actually know, but probably one of his first. I'm not sure. But I think it definitely showed how capable he was or is as an actor. And it's a really good story. Proper meaty story, isn't it?
It is,
With
yeah.
lots of twists and turns. And you're just willing them to get out of this situation throughout the whole film.
I agree with everything Shaz said, so I have nothing further I need to add. All I will say is that for the next episode, which will be in another 2 months' time, I think we'll go with another Ann Hui film, also starring Chow Yun-fat. There's one that we have on DVD called Love in a Fallen City. And I think Cora Mao's in that as well. I could be wrong, but I think she is. And I think that would be a really good one for us to cover. How do you feel about that one?
Well, great. Is it another early one for Chow Yun-fat?
Early, but I think it's after this one. I think it's still early 80s.
Right.
And it's actually a Shaw Brother film as well.
Oh, right. Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, should be good.
Right, we'll look forward to that one then.
Okay, now we're going to take a break and play you a little bit of the trailer for Tokyo Sonata. And we will catch you in a mo.
じゃあそろそろ学力テストか。頑張れ。開いてるぞ。
今後我が社も離れる。
So we're back after our break, and now we're going to talk about our next film, Tokyo Sonata.
Looking forward to this one, or we have been, and this is our next in our Kiyoshi Kurosawa films that we're checking out. And this is a little bit different to what Kiyoshi Kurosawa is renowned for. It's more of a drama. He usually does horror, or at least that's what people expect from that director. We watched this on Mubi. It's streaming on there currently in the UK. Initial impressions, Shaz. What did you think of Tokyo Sonata?
I did enjoy it. I felt I wasn't sure where it was going. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing. I felt it was quite unpredictable. What about you?
Although everybody says it's not a horror, and I get that because it isn't, but to me it was kind of like the horror of every day. I
I get that, yeah.
I felt like it was like the horrors of everyday life, having to deal with, situations as they come, and family dynamics that maybe not so perfect. And I think, really interesting film. For me, I was unsure as we started it because it was something different.
Yeah.
But come the end of the film, I've got to say I was very happy. So that's my initial impression.
Okay. So this synopsis is from IMDb. An ordinary Japanese family slowly disintegrates after its patriarch loses his job at a prominent company.
Wow, that's brief. Thank you for that, IMDb. Yes, it was quite almost amusing. It almost bordered on comedy at the beginning, because obviously the father lost the job and he was trying to hide it from the rest of the family, from his wife and his two sons. He had one younger son, one slightly older son. And he found out that he wasn't by himself, as this company had shut down. Obviously, many more had around Tokyo. People were going home pretending they still had a job. He had a friend he'd set his phone to ring 5 times in an hour, so it made it look like he was taking important business calls. And that aspect of it was humorous to a degree.
Yeah, I enjoyed that section. So to start with, the dad doesn't really know what to do with himself, does he? No, he needs to try and find work. And then he comes across this guy, the guy with the 5 phone calls an hour, and it sort of gave them a camaraderie, and you felt like at least he's not alone going through this. So I was quite sympathetic towards the dad throughout this section of the film.
I guess so, but I was also annoyed with him for not being straight up and lying to his wife.
Well, yeah, I mean, that as well, because I kept saying to you, didn't I? Why hasn't he just told his wife?
And I want to know where they were still getting the money from, because he was having to line up for 3 dinners.
Well, he was due a payoff, wasn't he, from his company? They briefly mentioned that. So maybe it was going to be enough to last for a few months. Who knows? Didn't go into it too much, did they?
No, I did like that segment of the film. It was funny to see him fall from grace, because he was kind of high and mighty at first, wasn't he? With, well, I'm not going to do that. I was a director or whatever station he had. He had like a quite responsible, well-to-do job.
I think it's okay to hold out a little bit if you've got certain qualifications, but I think there comes a point where if nothing's coming up, that you do have to go for that cleaning job that you might think you're overqualified for.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of competition.
Yeah.
This is a 2008 film, and I guess this is the landscape of Tokyo 2008, was the too many people needing jobs. I don't know. I don't know the social landscape of Tokyo at that time, but that's kind of what it's suggesting within this film.
Yeah.
あなた
奥さんには話したのか。いや、
私これでも総務課長でした。これ佐々木さんに適任かもしれないな。
今日も帰り早いの？
今日はやることがいっぱいあるからな。
So the father is Teruyuki Kagawa.
Mm-hmm.
He was quite an interesting actor, but when you go to look at his wife, it was Kyoko Koizumi.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like a mismatch to me. Did it to you, or was it just to me? And do you know what I mean by a mismatch?
I'm not sure. No, maybe I didn't really see a mismatch. How do you mean?
I wanted to know how they met and got together, because
Right.
I thought his wife was very pretty and he was very ordinary. Am I wrong there?
No, but what's to say she isn't with him just because she wanted to be with him?
I know, but I can't. I got to buy into it, you know.
Right, okay. They didn't
that
seem right.
they are a family unit, and whether it was because of the money, there we go. That could be it. Maybe he was earning good money and that was part of the allure. I want to be with this guy. He's got a stable job. He's going places.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the lies. I can't let her know. He was afraid of losing her.
Could be.
Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, very likely.
Maybe that's why the mismatch was in there. Because to me, it's very obvious looking at him that he didn't seem, looks-wise, her match.
Okay.
Everything else, I don't know. But she just seemed a bit too glamorous for me.
Yeah, but it wasn't like she was living a glamorous lifestyle. She was being the homemaker, the mum that was home, cleaning throughout the day, getting the food ready, making the donuts for everybody that nobody wanted.
Yeah, but there we go. I asked you, Shaz, was she happy with that life, and was he right to be worried? What do you think?
I think she was doing her best to keep everybody around her happy because that was her role. But, so maybe that made her happy. But I think there were little glimmers throughout the storyline of where she wasn't happy.
The first one being when she was looking at the cars?
Yeah. And also there was a bit when she seemed to have a lot of naps in the day, didn't she, on her settee? And there was one where, was it then when she came round thinking, oh, I wish I could have another life or something like that? So
she didn't even get the response from her husband that she wanted, because she held out her arms and he already gone upstairs.
Yeah.
Help me up, and he wasn't there.
Yeah, he'd already gone and left her on her own.
He was so consumed with his own problems that he couldn't spare that little bit of thought. And because he was so consumed with his own problems, he was kind of lashing out at the family members.
Yeah, he wasn't very nice to the children, was he?
No. The older son, he wanted to do something, make something of his life, so he decided to join up with the US military.
Mm-hmm.
And it was strange the way he presented it, like, you have no choice, I'll get it signed by somebody else if you guys don't do it.
Yeah.
you think that's because he knew the resistance he was going to get from his dad straight off the bat?
I think so. Yeah, he just knew his father in particular wasn't going to want him to do it.
No, so that guy was Yu Koyanagi, who played Takashi, the son.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was quite good, actually, and I thought he was also aware of his mum and his dad and there being a problem there.
Yeah.
And he kind of mentioned at one stage, didn't he, in the film to her, why don't you just
divorce him.
Just divorce him. It's almost like he knew his mum was too good for his dad.
Yeah.
That was my reading of it. I thought, this guy's not good enough for her, and he's just getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And the way he treated the younger son, particularly,
well, that was disgusting, wasn't it?
It was
really?
pretty disgusting, yeah. And again, that's where I found the horror aspect of it. You got this boy. He when he walks home from school, he sees this girl playing piano, doesn't he?
Yeah, a piano teacher's place. They've got the door open so he can hear the piano being played, and he's intrigued, isn't he? So he stood there for a few minutes watching through the window.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And, the eye contact, it says a lot. And then he finds out on the road this keyboard.
Yeah,
which he takes
in the
home.
dump, sort of at the side of the road, wasn't it? He takes it home, but you can't get it to work, unfortunately.
No.
That's a shame.
It is a shame. But you do see him practicing on it, and you never hear anything.
No, he's just practicing like the keys, isn't he?
He's told no to piano lessons.
Yes, his dad is very insistent.
It's like, it's just a fad.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't feel like it is a fad for the young one, who is Kai Inowaki playing Kenji Sasaki.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought this kid was pretty special in this.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good in the role.
He was.
Yeah, I bought into it. I mean, his character was quite good, The way he defended himself. I mean, he got stitched up at the beginning of class. There was a scene where they were passing along like a big bound volume of manga.
Yeah.
And when it got to him, the teacher saw it and he made him stand at the back of the class, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, but it's not mine, I'm just passing it along. The teacher wouldn't brook any argument. He was just, no, you just stand at the back of the class. So he then flags up that he's seen the teacher reading some porn manga on the train, on the subway.
Awkward.
And then the teacher's kind of ridiculed by all the students.
Yeah,
and
he is,
what's he called? Mr. Erotoko or something.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of funny. But he tries to make amends with the teacher. The teacher's like so far up his own ass, he doesn't really want to make amends. Let's just stop poking at each other's wounds. No, doesn't want to admit he's wrong, does he?
No.
We've all come across teachers like that in our time. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, he's shown quite a bit of resilience, quite a bit of spirit, but also quite a level head for such a young person.
Yeah.
And he decides to start using his dinner money for piano lessons.
And he's meant to be taking this money into school to play for his monthly, payment for the food he's having at school.
But he doesn't.
Oops. Naughty.
But before he gets found out, the teacher finds out that, she says, you're really good.
This is the piano teacher. She says, you should be thinking about going to a music school, because you're that good.
Yeah, she's telling him he's so talented. We don't know. We've not heard him play.
No, they haven't shown you at this point, have they?
They have not shown you. You're just wondering and you're thinking, is he really that good? But it's we won't ruin anything yet. But the teacher, what was she called? So let me find her. She's Haruka Igawa playing Miss Kaneko. And I felt like he had a little crush on her. Did you pick that up? Was that perceptible to you?
I think I know what you mean. I'm not sure.
When he was
Possibly.
talking to her.
Yeah, maybe.
She had a phone call, didn't she? And she was saying, "No, don't worry about me." And he picked up on that she had some problems. And he was trying to compare, elements in his life. Saying, "Oh, I know how you feel," because he couldn't get on with people. And
yeah. he said the wrong thing.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of endearing. You know, he obviously respected her an awful lot.
Yeah.
And I would like to, one thing I would like to have seen would have been that the teacher-student relationship explored just a little bit more, but I guess they couldn't do it because it would give away something if they did with the film. You know, they had to, and it wasn't just a focus on that. It was all the different elements. It was the father and his way of trying to deal with his job loss. It was the wife trying to keep the family unit together. The older son wanting to go off and strike out on his own, and the younger son wanting to influence the direction that his future is going to take.
Yeah.
So a very interesting, you know, piece for Kiyoshi Kurosawa to choose. I wonder what made him choose to do this one.
Who knows? Something different, I guess.
Do you think it's a good choice for him, Shaz? Do you think this works well for Kiyoshi Kurosawa?
I think so. I think, okay, it might not be a horror or not. Well, you thought it had a bit of a feel like a horror. But it was very unsettling and unnerving. So it was similar in a way. But I think the way the story's told, it was done really well. And you literally do feel it, that this whole family disintegrate as you're following their story. And you're just sort of wondering what's going to happen next.
Yes. And with regards to that, can we throw up a spoiler alert and then go into what happens next?
Go for it.
Okay. So anyway, we were waiting, weren't we, for one of our favourite actors to turn up.
Yes, we were.
Koji Yakusho, who we've watched recently. Last episode, he was in Cure. Since then, we've seen him in Perfect Days. That was fantastic.
Oh, that was an amazing film, wasn't it?
His role in this, Shaz, wasn't big, but what did you think?
Bonkers.
It's your favourite word, bonkers.
Bonkers.
But I have to agree, it was a little bit crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think because we really like him so much and we kept saying, our favourite guy's not in this yet, when's he going to be in it? And we're getting towards the end and we were thinking, well, what's going on? He's definitely in it, isn't he? Because you checked, didn't you?
Yeah.
And so he does turn up towards the end. We're
does.
going to divulge.
Yeah, we're definitely
his
going to
character.
divulge. If you don't want to hear, then, you know, skip forward or come back after you've seen the film. Like we said, it's currently streaming on Mubi, and there was a disc put out of this, I think, by Arrow or somebody. But yeah, he basically plays a thief, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's somebody else down on his luck.
Yeah, and he's broken into this family's house because they've got this big window that is left open a lot, isn't it? So he's got himself inside, and then he tries to, he sort of like goes to attack the wife, doesn't he?
Well, he
he's
takes
got
her
a
up
great
and
big knife.
He asks for money, doesn't
and
he?
pointing a knife at her. Where's your cash? Where's your cash? And she's like, we don't have any cash. And so then, I don't know. They get in a car.
He kidnaps her because she sees his face because he hears some sirens outside.
Yes. Yeah, so initially he's covered up and then he's going to leave, so he whips off his balaclava.
That's when we knew it was Koji.
Yeah. We didn't know until then. We were thinking, oh no, what else now? And so then at least we were like, well, thank goodness, there's our guy, there's Koji. And so, yeah, he comes back into the house because he hears the sirens. And then, of course, his face is on display. And he's like, oh no, you've seen me. I'm going to have to kidnap you now.
Which he ends up doing. He takes her to a stolen car, which is a car like she's seen earlier on in the showroom.
Yeah.
It's got the sort of
electronic folding roof.
Yeah.
To make it like a convertible.
Which is what she wanted.
Yeah, that's what she was looking at in the car shop.
Passed the driving test because she said, it's just a form of ID to her older son. And it's an expensive ID. He's thinking she's not going to get to drive. This is her moment. She gets to drive.
ダメだ
変じゃんそれって
ダメなものはダメだ
軍隊に入るのアメリカのこんなに遠くまで来たのに今更帰るわけにはいきません
Might be a point to mention that he loses his friend, won't say what happened, but he loses his friend that he meets up with.
Yeah,
That's quite...
so the dad loses his other unemployed friend,
Yeah.
doesn't he? So he's on his own.
And that seems to humble him. So he takes the cleaning in the mall, isn't it? It's like a shopping mall.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unusual because they have nowhere to get changed. So they're getting
Yeah,
dressed
they're getting changed in like a corridor.
and then go out and clean the mall. And at the same time, he finds some money. In fact, that happens first within the film. He finds some money, doesn't he? Then you see him legging it out the mall. Mm-hmm. It's in an envelope in the toilet, so he legs it out the mall. Then you get the flashback. And he bumps into his wife, doesn't he, on the way out?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, it's not what you think." And he legs it. And then it goes back to show
3 hours later, why she's there.
Yeah, which is
goes back to Koji breaking into her house, taking her hostage.
Which is the bit we just explained.
Yeah, and she says she needs to use the bathroom, so he lets her out at this shopping mall. And so I don't know, she's in the shopping mall, sees her husband.
Yeah, and then she comes back out because she told Koji that she would. And he's like, "Why have you come back?" Because basically she could have had her freedom. Mm-hmm. Theory, Shaz, why did she come back? Because he had her at knife point.
And he wouldn't have gone looking for her, or even if he did, I think there's a very slim chance he would have found her. But of course he knows where she lived. So he could have always gone back to the house.
Did you ever
really
feel that there was any real danger towards her?
Not really.
I didn't.
No.
I think she almost felt pity towards him.
Yeah, and I think in a weird way, she probably found it quite exciting, like something's actually happening to her.
Yeah, and they kind of bond, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Very strange.
Very strangely, they bond and drives off just up to the beach.
Yeah, yeah.
The son sort of tries to run away and stow away on a coach. Yeah. The youngest one.
So this is all in the same day, so it ends up that no one's home. Their house is empty overnight. So it was funny that all these different things happen on the same night.
Because the dad doesn't make it back, does he? He gets run over by a van.
Yeah, run over. Hostage in a barn by the sea, and the kid's been held by the authorities because he's tried to fare dodge on a bus.
So he gets processed, doesn't he, and put in a cell with the rest of the adult guys.
Yeah.
Dodgy. But I kind of like all these different elements within this film. It makes it so interesting. And from when it started off, I couldn't see all these different things happening.
Yeah, and I just had a eureka moment as to why it's called Sonata, and we were saying about this being a musical terminology. And you think about it, everything happening, it all started off really quiet.
Yeah.
And then it goes up to this big, loud, like, crescendo. You think it starts off diminuendo, and they actually use those two words. When the little girl was playing the piano, she says something, the teacher says something about diminuendo and then crescendo. I feel like that was the film, how it went like that to this big crescendo.
So the film itself was like a sonata.
Was a sonata.
俺がお前たちを守る、それが仕組みだ。
別に守ってほしくなんかねえよ。
お父さん、本当はただ説教して威張りたいだけなんでしょ。
And then after that big one night for everybody, and we don't know if they told each other what happened to each other because they don't show that, but it's like everyone's reset after it.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Oh, very, very good observation. I'm impressed I didn't think of that. But yeah. Do you think she slept with Koji?
It's a bit unclear. They were certainly doing something in that barn.
Or he was trying to. Then he seemed frustrated. Feel like he couldn't get it up or something.
Maybe, or maybe he just didn't want to do anything against what, I don't think she was really into it, was she?
No. I think she wanted to be, but she wasn't.
No.
And yeah, like you said, it's like a hard reset after that. But without filling all the rest of the details, when you finally get to see the boy play the piano, because he does have his moment. Mm-hmm. How did that hit you? I know how I felt.
I was quite moved. It was quite touching, actually.
It really was, wasn't it?
And I'd love to think it was actually the actor playing the piano, but it might not have been. I don't know.
No, whether it was or wasn't, it was portrayed really well.
It was.
And I think if you'd seen him playing the piano throughout the film, it wouldn't
it
have,
wouldn't have had the
that
same,
effect.
not the same impact.
No.
Because I think throughout the film we were all sort of guessing the few times it was mentioned. Oh, is the piano teacher just saying he's good?
Which
you know?
the dad says, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Of course she's going to tell you you're good.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get money, isn't she? You know. He's quite brutal with his son about that. So when they go in to watch him, which they do, it kind of it's like a punch, isn't it? It's like, wow.
Realise that his son actually might be talented. And there he was dismissing him like, oh, none of us are going to be any good at anything.
A strange reaction afterwards. A strange no reaction, I should say. But I think it's just left unsaid. Everybody's kind of speechless, aren't they?
Yeah, and because it was auditions, I'm wondering if they're not allowed to applaud kids, because if someone was rubbish, they might not get the same response, and maybe it's to...
They didn't have to say anything, though. It's the looks on the faces and the way everybody...
Yeah, all these people started coming in from different doors, and everyone was just stood agog.
Yeah.
Listening, weren't they?
It was a pretty incredible scene.
Yeah, it was.
The only thing I can liken it to, and this is going to sound silly, is a Jet Li film, right at the end of Danny the Dog, or Unleashed.
Right.
When he watches Morgan Freeman's granddaughter play the piano at the end of that.
Okay.
The same sort of emotional hit as that.
Right.
Completely different films, obviously, but I got that same pang.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, I really did. I really loved this one, actually.
Yeah.
I was not sure when I was starting off, and
Me too.
Yeah, it took me a little while longer than normal to get into it, but the reward at the end was
it was a
much
huge
greater.
payoff, wasn't it?
It was really a huge payoff. Do we want to look at any of the actors or anything? Just because I'm kind of interested. Right, let's have a look at the father, and that's Teruyuki Kagawa. I'm going to go click on movies and shows and see what we've seen him in, or if we've seen him in anything. Right, so Creepy, that's a film that was released by Eureka.
Right.
And I'm hoping that'll get a 4K, actually. But I'm not sure whether it will or not, and I'm not sure who directed that one. Oh, again, Kiyoshi Kurosawa. So
right,
that will be interesting to see. Creepy, maybe that's one we can get hold of. Maybe we will have to get the Blu-ray or do a rental or something, and maybe that can be part of our series. And then after that, I don't think there's anything else I see on the list that I recognise. Obviously, there's Memories of Matsuko. Now, I've heard of that. Right. I think we might have that on the old PlayStation 3 in the bedroom on the Play TV recorded, so we could possibly watch that one. I think it's been screened on TV. And then after that, there's nothing else at quick look that I can see. But he was quite good. And then, like I said, I was really, really impressed with the wife, Kyoko Koizumi. I really did enjoy her. I thought her performance, I don't know about you, but for me, she was the standout of the film.
Okay.
Yeah. I really loved her character.
Yeah.
And I thought her performance was out of the park, to be honest.
Yeah, she was very good, wasn't she? I felt like it more sort of, the film revolved around her, maybe, than the dad.
Alright, so she was in a series called First Love. I thought that might have been the Takashi Miike film, but it's not. Super Salary Man. There's some interesting looking films here. Mother Water, Bushido. And again, we need to up our Japanese watching charts. Oh, there's Adrift in Tokyo. That one was put out by Third Windows.
Right.
And I think I currently have that on our Prime watch list. I'm sure that's on there. So that's another direction we could go at some point. And then one called Blue Spring, which was also put out by Third Window Films. So that will be possible for us to get hold of. But where do you want to take next episode after this, Shaz? Are we going more Kiyoshi Kurosawa? Do you want to do like Bumpkin Suit Creepy or Return to Pulse? What direction are we going?
I think we'll stick with those.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure what one or two next.
We'll have a watch.
Yeah.
And then I guess if anybody was to see our letterbox, they might see which ones we watch and they might be able to guess. But yeah, that'd be a bit of a giveaway, wouldn't it? But I've enjoyed this series so far. I've really,
me too.
I know we're only 2 films in on both lines, on the Hong Kong line and the Beyond line, but both the Ann Hui films I've really enjoyed, and both the Kiyoshi Kurosawa films I've enjoyed. How have you found taking this natural path and just following 2 through lines? Is it exciting to you? Have you, are you keen to carry it on?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I am keen to carry it on. I think it's good to have like a theme or a thread to follow.
Yeah. Do you think we should try and keep the thread going indefinitely, or do you think when we've done the Kiyoshi Kurosawa and the Ann Hui's that we can find, do we just reset and pick something completely different, or do we go back to, or pick from the last film in that series an actor or a producer or something and carry it on from there?
Yeah, maybe.
Or an actor that we've seen in one of the films.
Yeah, or Koji, although I feel like we've seen a load of his.
Yeah.
It'd be good to talk about that Perfect Days.
It would. We both
I
want to
feel
talk
like
about
we'd
that.
have a lot to say on that one.
Maybe we could do Koji then, because I know we got some films with him in, like 13 Assassins and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that could take us a new direction again.
Yeah. Might be good.
Yeah. Okay. How would you like to sum up this? Would you recommend this to the listeners?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stick with it. You might not be sure after the first 10 minutes or so, but give it a bit longer and you'll enjoy it.
I think so. Persevere with this one. Don't put it on, turn it off straight away, because it's, seemingly a bit slow compared to what you've seen before.
Yeah.
Stick with it and you'll get your reward at the end. I think it's a worthwhile endeavour watching this film.
Definitely.
Tokyo Sonata gets 2 thumbs up from me. I really enjoyed it. I'm becoming a big Kiyoshi Kurosawa fan. And,
me too.
Kind of a thanks to Huss there for putting us or him on our radar.
Yeah, sure.
So thank you, Huss at Touch of Films. We appreciate you and your channel. If you haven't subscribed to Huss's channel yet, please do it, because he has all sorts of great recommendations.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else left, Shaz.
No,
Is there
me
anything
neither.
you would like to do to wrap up episode 23?
No, just to say, we'll be back shortly to look at the next 2.
So this will be out now at the end of March.
Yeah.
So end of May will be the next one.
Yeah.
And then end of July after that. And it's going to be every 2 months, because we want to just give it the thought process that we can, give it the due care, and just enjoy the whole process. We don't want to rush it out and do something rubbish. So for you few guys that follow us, it's like a private little group here, because it's such a small group of us, us included. But it's nice, and we're really pleased if few of you are listening to us out there. And what would be really nice would be a review on Apple Podcast or whatever podcast platform you've got. That might help us a little bit to get
that'd be good.
a few more listens.
Yeah.
It would be nice to expand, We can move up, 30, 40, 50 listens per episode would be really good. I know some put it on YouTube, but let's kind of skip through, so expect more videos, I think.
Right.
If you don't watch our videos, we are on YouTube as well. We're not so much on social media these days. We just don't have the time for it. And we've got other things that we'd like to do. So our main focus will be on the podcast here, which will also be on YouTube. But we would really like to grow the podcast. So we would appreciate your support, and any help you can give us towards achieving that end. That's it then. This is episode 23. I have been Leon from HKB.
And I've been Shaz.
And we'll catch you guys on the next one.